There are appraisers out there, just like with any other industry, saying, it's going to put us out of work. It's going to put the appraisers who don't know how to use it out of work. And if you can use it and how to, develop, good prompts and things like that, you're going to be fine. And actually, it's going to help you build your company.
Agreed.
Yeah,
it's a tool.
This is Mr. AI right here, by the way.
Yeah.
Out of the two of us, let's call it. Probably out of a lot of people.
Well,
He's all over.
From your insurance perspective, how are you using it?
All day, all the time.
I put that on everything.
Are you use it in your marketing?
Yeah.
They have lunch together.
No, but you can build, you can, I'm not saying it can replace everything.
Definitely not.
But there's an aspect to it that can enhance everything. It can enhance everything that we do.
Totally.
And so why would I not be doing it?
Welcome to the podcast dedicated to real estate, insurance, and building your business. Join us as we take you along our own business building journeys with additional wisdom from our network of local and national experts. Welcome to Bricks and Risk.
This episode is brought to you by Property Management Redefined. PMR is not just managing properties, they're creating partnerships that build long-term success for property owners. John and his team can be reached at manage@gopmr.com or by phone 267-753-6005. Tim.
Yes, Sean.
Who's a good client for PMR?
Property Management Redefined is looking for property owners who value three things: accountability, reliability, and a results-driven approach. They want to maximize returns, but still provide client and tenant satisfaction.
There's a lot of property managers out there.
Yes, there are.
What does PMR do really well?
Biggest thing is they're seamless and they're worry-free. So with that approach in mind, it allows the property owner to put their trust in PMR and know that the results will be there. The other thing I think a property owner is really going to value, because they do it so well, is that they have a local expert team, boots on the ground, managing your properties and your tenants' expectations every day so that you feel good about your investments.
We have millions of listeners out there.
Tens of millions.
If they want more information, how do they find PMR?
Right here, guys. Reach out to John Sachs and his team at Property Management Redefined. They'll take good care of you. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bricks and Risk. I'm Tim Garrity.
And I'm Sean Mooney.
Today, Sean, we have another local guest. We have a business owner, entrepreneur in the appraisal space. We have Mike Coyle, founder of the Coyle Group. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing well. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So a little background on Mike. So since 2000, Mike has provided real estate appraisal services throughout PA, and in 2007, he founded the Coyle Group. Appraisals are not just for lenders and banks. Mike works with attorneys, agents, financial planners, investors, and private owners. His goal is to help his clients find solutions to their valuation problems. By providing data-driven analysis, deep market knowledge, and clear communication, the Coyle Group is able to deliver valuation results that are both well-supported and easy for clients to understand. Mike went to LaSalle College High School.
Hey now.
Yeah. And Villanova University.
Go Cats.
And he's married and father of 5.
Yeah.
Get all that right?
Yeah, so far. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I think what's cool about this episode is you and I were having a conversation recently.
Yeah.
So I was at an open house in Roxborough, and I was helping a buyer client in Brewery Town. And if you recall, I had said, hey, there's 2 bedrooms on the second floor, and then there's this really nice finished basement with like egress, and it's got 1 bedroom down there and it's got a bathroom. Would you consider that a 2-bedroom home or a 3-bedroom home? And I thought that was interesting because you and I just like started chatting, and I rely on you for expertise. So first question I want to ask is kind of like, how did you like get started in the appraisal space?
Wait, what was the answer?
The answer was it was a 2-bed home with a finished basement, a bedroom, and a bath.
All right.
From an appraisal standpoint.
So I wanted to get on the docket.
Didn't mean to mess you up there. So how did you get into the appraisal space?
Well, it's funny. No one goes into appraisal as a direct route. It's always some circuitous kind of thing. And I had graduated college. It was a tough job market, so I literally spent 3 years roofing after college.
No way.
Yeah, up in Chestnut Hill, and did that. And
What
then
roofing company was that?
C.E. Hopkin over.
Okay.
They were around slate, copper,
Yeah.
cedar, all that stuff.
Wow, you know.
Yeah, never did the hot mopping or anything like that. It was just all kind of. I mean, you're working in Chestnut Hill.
Yeah.
So did that for 3 years, and then had a buddy of mine who I still work with today. So he was just getting into appraisal. Had me said, hey, look, my company's, we're expanding. We're bringing people in, come in. And at the time, I had long roofer hair.
Yeah.
And
Nice. Ponytail or straight down?
It was straight down, and I wore it back with a bandana. So
Nice.
Did you go to the Crescent Inn at like 7 a.m. Before you went to work?
No, we would go to the Greeks at the top of the hill, and 2 was this afternoon.
Nice.
But
awesome.
no, that's like roofers get a really bad rap for that, but it's kind of warranted.
Right.
Some of the
Listen,
guys
if I was
Let's have a couple get back up on there.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, he basically said, look, if you want to come and we'll interview you, but you got to cut your hair. So I went, cut my hair that night, got the interview, and it just took off from there. But so that was probably 93.
Wow. And this was after college.
Yeah, it was after college.
So, all right. So you graduate from Villanova. Villanova is a fantastic school. What kind of drove you to just say, you know what? I don't know if I really want like a corporate white collar job or whatever it was you were going to. I think were you marketing?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were marketing. So again, you're kind of setting yourself up for like a corporate job.
Yeah.
What made you say like, I'm going to go do this for a couple years? Like, why did you want to do that?
Immaturity.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean,
Great answer.
Poor decisions.
Yep.
And
guilty.
Yeah.
yeah, so sometimes you got to find out what you don't want to do to kind of springboard from that in the future, and kind of say, okay, we check that off the list. I don't want to ever, be out on a roof in January, and so I spent 3 years doing that, and kind of enjoyed it. It was nice to be able to be out there. But
cash, I'm assuming you were getting paid in cash kind of thing, or was it legit? Was it
was legit. No, we had taxes taken out, but they paid rather than giving you a check, they paid every weekend or every week you get paid in cash in a little manila envelope. And so you get your cash with your withholding written on the front of it, so you knew what they were taking out.
No way.
And then there were literally guys that they would come in, they get paid on cash on Friday, and then on Monday they're taking loans from the boss on Monday because they wasted all their money over the weekend. There's some interesting guys, some
lots of characters on the
Kensington
roofing
guys,
circuit.
Yeah. Just what you imagine, yeah.
As soon as they get paid, they're like, it's party time.
It was, I think I was the only guy in the crew without a tattoo.
Yeah.
And my father used to joke, you're the best educated roofer in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Wasn't happy about that. But
all right, so you get your haircut.
Yeah, get your haircut.
You start to mature a little bit. You're like, okay, do I want to keep doing roofing, or do I want to maybe apply some of the knowledge I have? So what was the next step after that? Who'd you go to work for?
Went for a company in Bluebell. It's no longer in business, called Tech Review. And as appraisal firms go, it was a puppy mill. And they just did, large volumes of work. They'd send guys from Philadelphia out to Schuylkill Town, County and stuff like that. Yeah.
So driving all
over the place. I mean, I literally worked for 18 months every day of the week, crazy hours. But it was good money. I was getting experience. But it was also, the market was hot right then. And then it cooled off in kind of 93. And they literally laid off a large portion of the appraisers in one day and just said, sorry, we don't have anything for you.
Wow.
So that's when as we had mentioned earlier, my family had an insurance brokerage. I went to work there for a number of years until we sold that in 99. Then I went back into appraisal through some, people I'd met, during the insurance stint.
So when you started that job, was that when you were working on your appraiser's license? Did you have to have an appraiser's license before you did that job? Like, how did that part work?
Well, it's funny because back when I was originally started appraisal, the appraiser's licensure was just starting to come into being.
Oh, wow.
And
really?
it was really on really early on in that time period. So, I started accumulating hours through 93 or whatever, 94, left the business for a while. And then when I got back in, I had to go literally find the work I'd, done.
Yeah.
And I'm literally going through the basement at Tech Review. They were still in business at the time. And they had literally cardboard banana boxes filled with printed appraisals that I would have to go through and say, there's my name. I pull it aside. And
then, my God.
And then through
Old
that,
school.
Oh yeah, literally everything was printed up. It wasn't a matter of just, just print the one sheet. You did. You had to go physically find it. And then you had to physically, make a list of all the reports you'd done. Okay. And then what happens is the state says, okay, well, of these reports that we know you did, send us 20. And, maybe of those 20, you didn't have the full report because you were digging through banana boxes that were wet and moldy and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
So then the state responds. So it literally took me from my first submission to getting permission to go sit for the exam. It took me a year.
Wow. Just piecing together like
Piecing
your
together.
history of like doing
Jeez.
appraisals.
And the state board at the time was meeting once a month. So they take care of business and then they come to your item again. And as soon as your item came in, it would go to the bottom of the pile. So they'd go through everything and then they come to your item. So they would basically say of those 20, you could only locate 18. You know what? We're going to need you to, provide these
more.
provide these other 10 because we're not sure if you're being factual about it. So finally got through, was able to sit for the exam and finally got licensed in 2000.
That's when you need like a buddy up at the state house or
yeah.
something. Like, just push me up.
They're
And
like, hey, Sal.
yeah.
Hey,
Well, it was funny.
Mikey
'cause-
C.
Yeah. Well, over that time, I'd gotten to meet, there was a woman up there that was kind of like the keeper of the gate.
Yeah.
And I was able to call her and she was
This
able
is
to,
out like in Harrisburg, right?
out in
This is-
Harrisburg.
yeah.
And she was
Like,
able
oh,
to,
you again, Mike?
yeah, to walk me through it.
Yeah.
And like literally, she'd be like, look, they're meeting tomorrow. I'll get you on the docket, but you've got to run your paperwork up here. So I'd literally hop in the car and run out to Harrisburg,
Yeah.
drop it off to her. And, she, get it on the, on the docket for the following day.
Always helps to have an in.
Always.
Well, here's one thing I'll say about all that, and thank you for sharing all that, because we want people to hear those things to understand what other people have gone through to get to where they're at. And like today, wanting to go out on your own is much, much easier. Like you have social media, all the applications are online, like you can get answers much faster, like things are done easier. Like back in the day when you were doing that, like even me 15 years ago when I got my real estate license, I remember I passed my test. I was like, cool, like how soon can I do this? They're like, no, you have to wait for the state to mail you your license before you can practice. And I'm like, is there another way? They're like, yeah, you could drive your application to Harrisburg. I was like, I'm going to Harrisburg tomorrow. Drove out there, went up this little window in this building that looks like freaking Peter and Paul Basilica in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I just passed my test yesterday. And they, okay, do you have a cashier's check? And I'm like,
I do not.
no. They're like, right around the corner. I was like, cool. Went and got that, came back, boom, walked out with a license. And that's, and I don't say that to be like, hey, it's way easier today to be a business owner. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, business wasn't always as easy as it is today. And people learned different paths to where they were going through some of that nonsense.
But it's no different though. Like, yes, we had to drive to, Harrisburg, or we had to do this. Now it's kind of those same things that you're always trying to maneuver through. It's just on a technological platform.
Right.
And so it kind of does.
Like your Wi-Fi doesn't work.
Yeah. Those like landmines are still there.
Of course.
And I think that's being a business owner, you're constantly maneuvering through
Shortcuts and, how to get through the minefield.
Yeah. And I think that's your point is like when we talk about these things, we just want to kind of like air them out so people have an understanding
perspective
of.
Yeah. It's not like our grandparents being like, I used to walk to school without socks
Right.
and had blisters.
Right.
I remember distinctly in the late 80s when my father got his first fax machine with thermal paper. He thought it was the best thing ever. And then he realized that like 3 years later, he'd go to the files and all the print from the thermal
the
paper
ink is
is
gone.
gone. And he's
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Just
Yeah, that's
little
the
things like
story.
that
Yeah.
were,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So you started your own appraisal company from scratch.
actually, no, I had a partner for a few years.
Did you? I don't think I
Yeah.
knew that. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I had a partner. One of my father's clients from the insurance brokerage was an appraiser. He was an older guy, and he was actually moving his office to Chestnut Hill, and he had partnered along the way with one of the fellows that I had worked with at Tech Review.
Oh, okay.
So they were like, "Hey, look, you just you sold your folks' business. You need a little time to breathe. Why don't you come work with us?" And I was living in Chestnut Hill at the time, so it made complete sense. So that was probably 2000. Then in 2007, my partner and I, we decided to split. He was an older fella. He was kind of going,
This is how we met.
yes,
Because
yeah,
when
you
I
would
was
come
in-
by the office.
When I was in the mortgage business.
Yeah, you would
This-
come by the office.
True story. When I was a street loan officer, I used to stop in there like every week, every other week, and drop off rate sheets and
Yeah.
try and chat it up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you started, all right, so you started there, and when you were at that company, when it wasn't going to make sense for you anymore, that's when you decided to go off and start your
Exactly. So
new company, let's call it.
in December of '07, I started the Coyle Group and have been going ever since.
The only thing that comes to mind is like you start in 2007 and 2008.
Exactly. All hell breaks loose.
Awful. It's like the worst time to get in business.
So chapter 2 of being a business owner is like
Timing.
the landmines over here that you need to navigate
yeah.
through, and then like a market
Yeah.
collapse.
Yeah, you missed that steaming pile and you jumped into another one. But it was even better. Right at the same time, my wife and I bought into a patio furniture company.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know this.
Oh, yes. And
Local,
yeah.
national?
the Hill Company in Chestnut Hill.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
So
sure.
we were partners in that. And everything went hell sideways. Right as we opened up a
no
second.
one's buying patio furniture in
We opened a
2008.
second location, and so it's. Yeah, so we were able to extract ourselves from that, and
What was the conversation? Hey, Mike, we need another partner for this patio furniture company.
well, it was funny because my wife's always been really entrepreneurial. She had worked in sales, and she was with Philadelphia Magazine for years, and one of
nice.
her clients was the Hill Company because she was selling ad space.
Advertising, yeah.
Yeah, so she got into them, and finally said, hey, the owner at the time said, hey, look, you'd be a really good fit for us. Do you guys have any interest? They approached us. We said, yeah, again, it was right around the corner.
Yep.
So it made sense. And
Yeah, you're like, hey, we're in Chestnut Hill.
Exactly.
Like, this is a nice store. This is nice. Who
Yeah,
doesn't
we-
need patio furniture?
yeah, we were clients. I mean, it just kind of made
Exactly.
sense. And then the economy had a different take on things.
How bad for you from an appraiser? I think it's like catastrophic for an appraiser during this time. Was it as bad as I would assume it to be?
It was tough. It was really tough because, obviously no one was lending and things were just kind of crazy. But one of the things like you spoke to earlier is when I dissolved the partnership with my partner, one of the things that I wanted to concentrate on was private work, estates, divorces, tax assessment
Smart,
appeals.
yeah.
Well, I mean, people are always getting divorced. They're always dying. And, they always want to fight their taxes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, we really developed a proficiency in, going forward. And that's kind of what saved us through the slow times was the fact that we could go out and get
because
these.
a lot of that stuff was going on, especially like, divorce or people, filing for bankruptcy or short sales or
And so
foreclosures.
what was it? So you'd have business, other ones that rely so heavily on mortgage-driven, purchase-driven appraisals.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying, well, if we diversify a little bit or do more of this, have a specialty in this,
Mm-hmm.
all those other ones, that helped to kind of.
It totally helped.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a core group of lenders. You guys have heard of appraisal management companies. I know you have. I've always tried to stay away from them, and had to work with some over the years. But presently we don't work with any of them.
Yeah. You rely more on like your own network, word of mouth.
Yeah,
You
we
want
work
someone
with-
feeding you stuff.
Yeah, we work with, as far as our lending portion, we work with some regional lenders. We work with the VA a lot,
Nice.
which is great. That keeps a good steady stream of lending work. And then we've really gone to develop that private side, and that has, helped us along the way. And it's great because it's interesting work. It's different all the time.
Very personal. Like, someone's going through like a divorce
Yeah.
or a foreclosure or a death.
Yeah, but you don't deal with it. You don't deal with that, right? You're on the outskirts of, dealing with an attorney or attorneys.
Well, with the divorce side, a lot of times what will happen is people are, where they have an attorney helping them, the attorney says, okay, you need an appraisal.
Yeah. So they go
have
out.
they have
I
go
know
out-
Mike.
They have to go out and find an appraiser. So you are walking them through and holding hands with them.
Yep.
And then it can be like really contentious sometimes.
Combative.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There are 2 occasions where I've literally had to be escorted through the house by the police
Oh my
because they're
gosh.
out on the front yard cursing
Yeah,
at
one
each other.
person's out, one's in.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so I just got like a bunch of questions from that. All right,
Uh-oh.
so you were in the appraisal business prior to 2008 for a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
What, maybe like a decade or so?
Yeah.
2008 hits. How much did the appraisal business drop off, if you just had to guess, when you started your company? Like, how much less business was there?
Considerably.
Yeah.
I mean, our numbers, I know what we were doing probably dropped by 25 to 30%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what's been going on in real estate like the last few years. So 22 was kind of the year where like everything stopped, 20 and 21 were like nuts. 22 it kind of chilled out in some areas.
Yeah.
Nationally, sales dropped, I think, around like 25% or so in 23. Same kind of thing. You know, it was right around the same. I think it was a little less last year than it was in 23. And this year, they're saying it's going to be pretty similar to what, 2024 was, let's call it. So it's really not that different than what's going on right now. I think what was different about back then, because I was in the mortgage industry, and it was just so like dire because no one had ever gone through anything like that since like the Great Depression.
Yep.
So then what was happening is like the mindset of people in the U.S. economy was like, everything's going to get burned down. Like, banks are just going to close. There's going to be a run on banks, like all this stuff. And there were some scary things back then, like the stock market completely crashed and people's 401ks were worth like a third of what they were, a year prior. Now, again, everything bounces back and it did. But I think that's interesting just like to go back to that time, because I was in business at that time and remember how crazy it was. And then also what we're going through like right now, it's almost like the people who've already been through like 2000 are like, yeah, this kind of sucks right now. Yeah. But we've been through some nonsense.
Yeah, and I think that's it. You get a certain amount of perspective. The appraisal industry is going through some changes right now. I mean, we have the appraisal, management companies, but we also have, they're coming out with new forms.
Oh.
And prior to that, it was, the ANSI measuring guidelines, and people were pulling their hair out over it. They didn't, these people who had been appraisers for 30 years saying, I'm going to quit because I don't want to learn how to measure to the 10th of an inch. Come on, change. Yeah. And so now they're having that too, where, they're bringing in a new form. They're going to get rid of the URAR form, which is the, the gold standard for appraisal. And they're going to have this dynamic form. And, there's going to be more stuff that we have to collect while we're in the field. And basically, it's, in my opinion, Fannie and Freddie, they're data mining.
Yeah.
And they're having us collect it for them. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have,
just like Zillow collects it from agents.
Exactly. And property data collectors are coming out to do hybrid appraisals and desktops and all that stuff.
Right.
It's all about the data.
Yep.
And, if appraisers would just realize that, we're at the head of the spear and we're the ones collecting the data, if we could just use it for our own good, but we're appraisers.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, that's like anything. And actually, it might be good for you. Like the people that are able to pivot, the people that can like roll and just be in stride with these types of changes, sometimes it impacts them. There's winners and losers when any of this stuff kind of change happens. And it's like, if you're prepared for it and you can adopt and do it quickly, sometimes you're just the beneficiary in those types of scenarios.
Totally agree. And I see that's what's happening right now with AI.
Yep.
There are certain groups of appraisers that are trying to move towards that and incorporate that into their practice. But that's what my office is doing. We're using it. Right now I've probably got 3 AI browsers open on my computer at the the office, helping.
Are you like feeding it data, like feeding it appraisals?
Sometimes feeding it data. What I'm using it for right now is, to take large, volumes of information and kind of distill it down for me. I'm finding it's still a little bit unreliable when it comes to, the analysis of the numbers. You can't really get it to repeat, or I've had, I haven't had great luck in getting it to repeat, but it's really good for, hey, I want to kind of get this idea across, or I'm working on one right now where a property is being condemned by the township and FEMA's involved. And, we're trying to explain, how does the FEMA angle tie into it? The house has been condemned, but, we're supposed to be looking at it as though, it's not condemned, and just, interesting little.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Just, things like that. But I think with the appraisers, the ones who, there are appraisers out there, just like with any other industry, saying, it's going to put us out of work. It's going to put the appraisers who don't know how to use it out of work. And if you can use it and how to, develop, good prompts and things like that, you're going to be fine. And actually, it's going to help you build your company.
Agreed.
Yeah,
it's a tool.
This is Mr. AI right here, by the way. Yeah. Out of the two of us, let's call it. Probably out of a lot of people. Well, he's all over.
From your insurance perspective, how are you using it?
All day, all the time.
Would you use it in your marketing?
Yeah.
They have lunch together.
No, but you can build. You can.
They whisper sweet nothings. and say,
There's
hi.
Really,
How are you?
I'm not saying it can replace everything,
Definitely not.
but there's an aspect to it that can enhance everything. It can enhance everything that we do.
Totally.
And so why would I not be doing it, right? Why not create a custom GPT for me so that I can load it in and I can fill it and I can prompt it and I can save my prompts? Like, because to your point, it's not going to be perfect, and it can be and it can change. The output can be different. But if you concentrate on getting that prompt so specific for how you need it to be, and work on that and revise it here and there and make those little tweaks, you can get it to a point where it's so much better.
Yeah. Yep.
And so why wouldn't I want, we're testing it on a lot of different levels, from our phone systems to our marketing to our policy review. I've done demos with a bunch of different companies that offer it in different levels. It's fascinating to me in terms of what you can do with it, and in the end, how it can help my business.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting? It's like almost so when smartphones came out and the cloud, let's call it, you didn't need file cabinets anymore.
Yeah.
All right. You didn't need paper pushers. You didn't really need scanners, like fax machines, like these things. So AI is definitely going to change things for sure. A lot of people have fear it's going to replace experts in their field or human beings, which it will to an extent, just like, the smartphone and the cloud replaced the person that actually shuffled the papers, threw them in the scanner, put them in a file, and put them in the file cabinet. There was no job anymore for that person. So it's definitely going to do the same thing, and probably on a level that none of us can really truly understand right now, just because it moves very fast, and it's just a way different thing. I feel like that people in life and business have never experienced before. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see like where the next 10 years go. Hey everyone, this is Tim, your favorite Bricks and Risk co-host, but don't tell Sean. I hope you're enjoying this episode, and I'll get right back to it in a moment. Our audience grows through word of mouth. So if you would please take a moment of your time and give us a review on the platform you're on, that would be fantastic. Please also help spread the BNR word by sharing your favorite episode with a friend. We greatly appreciate your time and trust. Now, back to the show. Here's another question for you. So you were in your partnership, you decided to go out on your own. When you go out on your own, was it just Mike? Was it just you? Did you have another appraiser or appraisers or an admin or marketing person? Like, how did your company start?
2 staffers came with me.
Okay.
And the way we had structured anything before that, all of our appraisers were independent contractors, so they could work with whomever they wanted.
Yep.
And I kept the relationships with the appraisers I wanted to work with.
Like a real estate agent, like
Exactly.
even an insurance rep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So they came, they worked with me. I know that some of them still work for, with my old partner.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Just as long as, you don't cross-pollinate and,
Exactly.
and keep it clean. But yeah, that's how we did it. And actually that model has been one of those things that's allowed us to move with the market, because when we grow, I can just pull in more appraisers.
Yeah.
When we contract, I can also, shed some of the appraisers, knowing that, I'm not their only appraisal source, that they're still going to feed the cats and get everything done. But, I can, keep my own thing going, by utilizing those contractors.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. One thing you said earlier that I thought was interesting and just kind of like ties in with like everything we talk about here is like, you're like, hey, I wasn't really connecting with those appraisal management companies right away. I was using the relationships I had and finding a way to say, I'm not just an appraiser, I'm an appraiser who specializes in divorce or death or, foreclosure, what a bankruptcy, tax appeal. And you kind of gave yourself like a differentiation when you first started, which once you think about appraisers, like who really does that? Most people who do appraising, they're just like, okay, you got work for me? Cool. I'll go out and do the work.
Yeah.
And they just go, they follow where the work takes them. And I think it was interesting that you had said, I'm not going to do it that way. What's also interesting about that is that if you get too busy, like you said, from your relationships, there's more appraisals than you have hours in the day. You can bring people in and say, why don't you go do this? I'll take some. you take some, and then we'll keep doing that, provided the work is good, up to my standard, because this is my relationship. And I did that too in real estate. Building a brokerage was kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
We didn't do Zillow. We didn't really do the realtor.com. We didn't really do any of that stuff. We just did it through relationships, content marketing, reviews, shaking hands, getting business. And then when you get too busy, you bring more people in.
Yeah. The reviews are key.
Yeah, talk about that.
Getting Google reviews, it has been great. It's funny. Just a couple of weeks ago, we got a 1-star review, and I looked at it as here's an opportunity to do a teachable moment here. It was a review from a divorce situation.
This is me.
Yeah. So it was a review. Go ahead.
The 1-star review.
Yeah,
We had an episode about reviews.
Oh, really?
Bad reviews aren't always bad reviews.
No.
Well, they are. A bad review
yes.
is a bad review. But number one, my point was always that it lends credibility to the business entity, because if you have all 5 stars, people almost glance over and like, oh, like, are these all just paid? Like, what is it? The 1-star, the 2-star, the 3-star gives you, number one, and I'll let you finish.
Oh, good.
Allows you to understand maybe what went wrong in that scenario, if that was truly the case. Or number 2, an ability to explain your side of the story, which perception sometimes is not always truthful, and there may be another side of the story. And it just allows an opportunity for the general public who's online looking to have a better understanding of what maybe was delivered and what your side of the story might be. So.
I totally agree with that, because we used it as kind of an education moment, and just it was a situation where it was divorce, and the person who left the review was not a client. He was the other side, so to speak.
Yep.
And we basically said, while we value your review, we'd like to point out that X, Y, and Z, and this is why we did it. And we have confidentiality with our client who was not you, and we offer our confidentiality and our expertise to everybody, that is our client.
It's basically someone got mad.
Oh yeah.
And when someone gets mad,
it's sour grapes.
they get emotional, and they Google your name, and they boom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to them this way.
But yeah, it was one of those things. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, man. But you kind of take a breath.
Yeah.
And you realize it's not the end of the world, and you kind of work around it.
How have they? All right, so let's talk about how having a lot of Google reviews has kind of helped your business, especially through relationships, word of mouth. But again, it can't all be through relationships. You have to have some lead gen, some cold lead gen, let's call it. Google reviews are cold lead gen because you put them out there. People you don't know are going to look at those things, and people you don't know will eventually reach out to you and say, "Can you help me?"
Yeah, and we get that all the time. We do have a form on our website where you can go in there and order an appraisal. And one of those is, where did you hear about us?
Nice.
And Google is one of the top things that pops up. Or when we get a phone call, hey, I was reading your reviews and I figured I'd give you a call.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it definitely helps. And having it out there, and it's free.
It's free.
That's the beauty of it.
Put the time in, put the work in. Now, again, you have to have good customer service. If you don't, your Google reviews are going to be crap.
And we follow up with our clients. I mean, when you write a policy, if you had a great rapport with somebody, you feel like you really solved it and they're happy with what you did.
Yep.
That's the client that gets from us. They'll get an email. Hey, would you mind leaving us a review? Great reviews are so helpful for us.
Right.
Would you mind if I sent you a link to our review page? I don't want them fumbling around. I send them the direct link. Okay. And, 9 out of 10 times you're going to get a response. And,
what is the sequence? Is that an automated system that you use? Is it just a one-off email as a follow-up that you have as a like a reminder to do? Like, what's that?
Right now it's a single one-off email, because I'm a bit of a control freak, and I want to be able to kind of, monitor the in and out of it.
Yep.
And that interaction, and it's been, it's been, really good the way it goes. I think we've got 90 some reviews.
That's awesome, man.
That are up there.
That's not easy.
No, but it's one of those things that you make the conscious effort and it works.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's after my breakup happened at Copper Hill and I started leading with my personal brand. I'm like, all those reviews belong to Copper Hill. I have to start from scratch. And just yesterday, I was on a Zoom with my buddy Jared Blackwell, who was also a guest. What's up, my man? And he introduced me to his Google Business Profile expert. He's been helping me kind of like, reconstruct mine because it was tied to a lot of my old stuff. And she came on right away. She's like, oh, wow, you already have 12 reviews. And I'm looking at it. I was like, man, I kind of wish I had like 50.
Well, here's one for you.
I left a lot in the dust.
Does Copper Hill Online still exist, or is that completely deleted?
It still actually has, I think when you have a Google Business Profile, when you close it down, it just shows as like permanently closed.
So if those, like here I go thinking again.
Oh, right. Are you going to start digging them up like in the graveyard?
Yes.
And like all these zombie reviews
No,
are going to be walking around like.
If they're alive and you're able to see them, go in and just, there's probably a data tool you can scrape it if you wanted to, or you can go through manually. And if your name, Tim, appears in the review, I would pull that person, because you're going to see who it is. I would email them and say, hey, listen, you left me
I haven't gotten there yet, but yes.
This is just a suggestion.
No, what you're saying is exactly what I plan to do, but keep going because it's really good thought.
So the person's there, the person, you deal with the person, you have a relationship with the person. They left you a review already.
Do you mind doing this again under this
hey,
account?
we close this down.
Yes.
Roll it over.
Yeah. No, it's...
And what a great way to get back in touch with them.
Exactly.
I know. Yeah. No, it is.
Touch point.
Yeah.
I probably didn't fully think about the steps yet, but I did think about like going
That's why we
back.
have the podcast.
That is true. That's where you learn.
I'll go do that tonight.
The more, yeah. Okay. So I'll be up until about 3 a.m.
You could get someone on Fiverr to comb through, pull the names, and send out the emails for about $20 and have
I'm like,
it done.
how about $7.50 to do it today? They're like, done.
I would even think there's some sort of AI agent you can do to get in there.
Yeah, I think so too. I appreciate that. All right, so here's another one. One thing you had said about what you love doing about appraising is, one, the people you meet, their stories, and the architecture. That's not typically what I hear from appraisers. I find most appraisers I meet to just be very focused on just, I got to get these reports done. If I do X amount of reports, I make Y amount of dollars. And it's just this, you wake up, you have your routine, and you don't want any nonsense. What is it about just like meeting people and their stories that has been interesting in the appraising world?
That's what keeps it human. I mean, sure, we're looking at buildings, we're putting values on buildings, but to just be sitting there crunching numbers and grinding all day. I mean, granted, I do my fair amount of grinding, and but I mean, you've been on our website or what's the Facebook page that we have, and I'll post pictures of really interesting architectural details that I see, when I'm in and around this, the city and the area, because it's one of the things I've always liked houses. I worked on roofs, and and there's always been an architectural aspect of it that I've enjoyed, and to be able to get through these properties and get through a house that was designed by Walter Durham or something like that.
Something amazing.
Yeah, and then to hear the stories about like some of these people, oh yeah, our family built the house and we've been here for 3 generations, and
wow,
yeah, that kind of stuff is really interesting.
That is cool. That is a cool thing about Philly. When you were doing the roofing, was it more the specialty roofs? Was it like a slate roof and like
slate, copper, cedar, all that stuff?
Oh,
I mean, you just imagine, we were maintaining the houses in Chestnut Hill, so it was that kind of thing. But yeah, that was fun.
That's awesome.
What's your social media page look like? Do you capture a lot of that on social media? Do you use that as a tool?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I use social media. I have a group on Facebook because I'm old and I haven't figured out.
The groups are great. I mean, still today, a lot of people say the groups are like a great way to go because you have a captive audience.
Well, and that's it. I think that we have like 900 some people in our group right now. And
great.
They tend to be, real estate agents in the Philadelphia area. And my group started with, it's called Ask the Philly Appraiser. And it's on Facebook. And it started with a place where agents could come and, ask a question. But I worked it that there were a number of guys in the group, and they were appraisers from around the country. So here were guys that would answer questions, but they weren't necessarily in competition with me. And like one of the guys who's in the group is a guy named Woody Fincham, and he's an appraiser down in Virginia. It does high-end stuff like horse farms.
Shout out to Woody.
Woody's phenomenal. He's just he's one of those guys that when I have a question, I call Woody.
That's awesome.
And and there's another guy in the group, Mark Bueller, he's out in California.
Oh, very cool.
And he does, solar. So he can explain to people in Philadelphia that solar doesn't add value. No, just kidding.
Right. Yeah, we don't have enough sun for that.
Yeah, that's those that one, but solar, yeah. But no, so we've got this, this group, and people will, post questions, and and I've got to add things to just kind of keep things rolling. But it's a good resource, and it's out there. So
How long has the group been going? Like, how long did it take to get up to 900 people in that very specific group?
I think it's 6 or 7 years, 6, 7. We're back there. Yeah.
Well, that goes to show we're doing pretty damn well with our LinkedIn group, because LinkedIn. Another tip, LinkedIn has a great group feature. You can do it for like your company. You could, again, this is what we always wanted to do with this podcast, is we wanted to turn it into a show. Okay. Now, some people do podcasts and they're like, hey, they're meeting people, they're shaking hands, and they get a deal or they get another relationship, and they just leave it at that. And they do the bare minimum. And I think with us, again, it accomplishes that. We're meeting lots of people we wouldn't meet. We're getting business. We're helping people. But I think us doing it every week, not missing, like, enjoy doing it, throw some humor into it, like, have a brand, and just like having fun with it. It makes it,
well,
like,
it's building a community.
Yeah,
We're building a community.
Exactly.
And we have people that follow us, people that watch us, whatever their way
just
of
like
interacting.
he's got a community of appraisers.
That's
now.
what I was just going to say.
It's the same
It's
thing.
the same exact thing. And to the point where your community allows you to become educated and use it as an educational
100%.
tool.
As a resource, yeah.
We do the same thing. Having people on the show that we can tap their shoulder.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think of this?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
How would you do this? And it could be specific about our podcast, specific about our show. Like, how do you do this? How do you recommend we do this?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's business driven as well, calling, Evan Siegel about a loan or something like that.
Shout out to Evan Siegel Financial.
Just those different things is immeasurable.
Well, and you put yourself out there. You're a resource.
Yep.
You're not just someone who's trying to, sell them something.
No.
And hey, I can't help you, but I have someone who can.
Yes.
Connecting.
Yeah.
Being a good connector. Being someone who will take 5 or 15 minutes out of their day to answer someone's question. You call Woody. Woody's that guy. Like, you're like, yo, man, I need this answer. He's like, sure. What's your question? He will stop what he's doing and he will answer your question. Probably just like Bueller.
Yeah, Mark.
Bueller.
Bueller.
Out in California. You call him and it's the same deal. They're going to take the time to help you out. And people, to you all the time, to me all the time in our industries, because our industries have other industries tied to them. Like, someone asked me about lending or title or appraisal, and I'm just dropping names.
Yep.
Or if I have a question, hey, we had the question about the property in Brewery Town, I'm calling you. Like, that alone, I feel like, is such a great reason to start a community. It's part of the reason why we started this show, is that now we can kind of like really talk about it and have it all like out there in video form and audio form. And it's such a good feeling to just know that you're helping like drive people to this spot where they're like, it's either helping them with their job or their life or both. And I think that is a great way to go. Social media is so great, and podcasting has taught us that too.
I was thinking social media specific to Instagram for you. I'm like thinking in my head, because I had this conversation with a masonry contractor the other day.
Jimmy?
No,
Okay.
Not him. Another one. But I was like, man, you do some like really cool projects. Like, I'd imagine your social media feed is just like littered with these awesome,
Like the work you're doing.
the work, the projects, the buildings. Like with you, I'd imagine you've been in every neighborhood. You've seen all the different houses. Like I was just thinking of yours being an Instagram feed of this unbelievable pictures and sequences of like different things you've seen, or like there's a hole in the floor that,
Goes to where?
Yeah.
No, and that's one thing. I just haven't. I haven't taken an Instagram yet. I have an Instagram account. I haven't done jack with it.
Yep.
But Maybe I'll get that rolling now for
Get
you.
an AI tool
I'll
to
tell you
start
what.
That's what I
popping.
need.
N8N
'Cause this-
is an auto
'cause this guy-
populator. Just
I'll
tie
touch
them
it.
to, and it can pull. Like if you just had your pictures somewhere, it can pull, extract them
Really?
out, and then post through.
This guy's
I'm
new
gonna
to
get with you.
Instagram, but we call him the Doc King.
Doc King.
And we'll talk about that on another episode. But what I will say is that Instagram, because I only got on it at the start of quarantine. So I was never on it. So it's been about 5 years.
Oh, and by the way, you want to call it the IG with your kids.
Oh, the IG?
It
Is
really
that-
makes it. They don't like it when you call it the IG.
Yes.
Not the IG anymore, the IG.
I'm gonna
Yo,
say,
you on the IG?
I'm gonna say Instagram.com on the World Wide Web, son.
No, I will agree with Sean that Instagram, if you have a lot of
Visual.
images
Visual.
and or videos, it's huge. Like your description has to be like absolutely nothing. This is why I personally don't really dig Facebook that much, because Facebook is too much text. It's too much nonsense. There's just
Too much time.
It's too much.
Is Twitter on 140 characters
Right.
too much?
No, Twitter I actually liked. I actually had a pretty good following on Twitter until I was just like, why am I on this thing? But
I think I
Instagram,
have more. I think my business page has more followers on Twitter than I do on Instagram.
yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, I would agree with Sean. I think that's a good move.
Instagram.
All right,
N8N.
so your tip for listeners and watchers
Uh-oh.
was know your value and what you bring to the table. And you had said, know when to say no and guard your time. Why was that something you wanted to share?
Especially with the appraisal industry, a lot of people view appraisals as one size fits all. It's a commodity, and they're
Yep.
we get a phone call, and the first question out of someone's mouth is, "Well, what's it cost?"
Yep.
It's like going to a realtor and saying, what's the house cost?
Right.
Or a mortgage person. What's the rate?
Exactly. Well,
Well, there's a
for
couple
you,
other
it's one
costs.
thing.
It costs what it's worth it to you.
Well, there's some other factors that
Yeah.
we might need in order to
with your
give you that
620
information.
FICO, it's this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once you get that, and you know what your time is worth, and you realize that maybe you don't want to deal with that smaller headachy stuff, and
Yeah.
sometimes taking the more interesting projects, they're more lucrative, they're more engaging, and they build your credibility too. That's one of the things. But one of the things that I'm always about, guard your time, okay? Because there are people around you in your life, in your business, that will just suck your time up.
100%.
And you've got to know when to cut those people off, either for good, or at least when you know that they're starting around that corner and it's going to be a 30-minute conversation.
Right.
You need to know when to say, hey, okay. And it also involves having the right answer maybe ready ahead of time.
Yep.
Kind of knowing what you're going to get into, and just say, hey, here's how I'm going to buy back a little of my time.
So
Really good advice.
in our office, we do this all the time. We at least have this conversation
You
about.
tell people to F off?
We do not.
Oh, okay.
We
what I thought
talk
you were getting
about
at.
the value of time, because we have clients that maybe, let's just say, we hear from them often. And so we kind of have to make the evaluation as to how much time can we spend with this client.
Yep.
And so, to your point, is being preloaded in almost anticipation of, okay, this next conversation with this client, how are we going to deal with it? You know what I mean? Because time is it's just the most valuable,
Yep.
thing that you have.
Can't
Yep.
make it, can't get it back.
Nope.
And so when you're distributing it, you have to be
Be
cognizant
thoughtful.
of,
Be tactful. Understand why, like you had said, if you know it's someone, you know them well enough.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know them, you can usually get a sense in the beginning if you know people well enough to be like, okay, I don't think this is going in the right direction.
and to your point, like we have, a cold prospect that calls in the office, hey, I need this. We talked about this. We do an evaluation right in the very start of dealing with that person to see if they're going to be a good fit or not.
To disqualify you,
Disqualify.
You had said. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. And in 5 questions, if there's a contractor that's been operating for 5 years and never had insurance before, It's probably
You're
not
like, come on in. Let me unlock the deadbolt for
Yeah.
you. Would you like a beer?
Yeah. Probably not a good fit for us, but we can send them somewhere where they're going to get coverage and be a better fit for them, and knowing that in advance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being that resource that,
Yes.
I'm not going to deal with you, but this guy will deal with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's, still helping,
Still,
Yeah.
but
still
not
can be
being the
helpful.
person that helps. That's really good advice. All right. Your quote I absolutely loved. It's don't do dumb shit. and I love that. And you had said this is kind of like you being a dad and looking out for your kids. And sometimes it is just that simple. I mean, we're all parents. You have 5, he's got 3, I have 1.
Yeah.
And we're all at different stages of being parents. But sometimes it really is just finding a way to get through not only to your kids, let's say, but just people in a very simple way. Using profanity sometimes is effective, and just saying like don't do that. Like why did that one stand out for you?
Well, it's like you said, I have 5 kids. They range from 22, 21, 19, and then I have 15-year-old twins.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 boys and a girl.
He's getting to that point though where he's starting to be like, okay, everyone's got what they need.
See, we had 3, and my wife said, let's go for 4, and we got twins. So we're right where you are. But I mean, there's not a weekend that goes by where I'm telling somebody don't do dumb shit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work all the time.
Sure.
But at least that's the last tap on the forehead before they're leaving. That's the last thing that they're hearing from you, and hopefully it resonates a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's at the point too where I say it to their friends as they're getting out of the car. Just don't do dumb shit. And this past weekend, my one son was down the shore, and he did some dumb shit.
Nice.
And
We all have.
well, you get the phone call from the police. And,
They're like, oh, is
so-
this Mr. Coyle? You're like, yes, it is, officer.
Pretty much.
What did he do now?
Yeah, he did dumb shit.
That's what my parents said.
But
What do you do now?
And it's like I always tell my kids too. You know what? You may not know who's looking at you, but they know who you are.
Yep.
And when your kids are playing sports, they've got their name on the back of their shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your name that they're wearing. Okay, so I'm constantly telling these guys, okay, you may not think that so and so knows who you are, but my
They
one
know
son,
who you are.
hey Riley, you're the redheaded Coyle. They know who you are.
Right.
Yep.
No hiding there.
Not at all. Not at all.
My mom, she would get people would come up to her all the time.
Say, what an angel.
No.
Shawnee
They
boy
would
is.
say, "Oh, Mooney, your last name's Mooney. Do you have a son?" And she'd be like, "Yeah, his name's Tom."
Yeah, shout out to Tug. What's up, man?
And they'd be like, "Oh, I know this guy Sean." And she'd be like, "Yeah,
Yeah, it's my other son.
Distant relative.
yeah."
That's,
But it's
that's
LaSalle boys will be gentlemen.
right.
That's what it is.
Boys will be boys. LaSalle boys will be gentlemen. Yes.
So great.
What year
Awesome.
were you?
All right. Well,
97.
Oof, 87.
Yeah. All right.
so before we shut this one down, why don't you tell our listeners and watchers where they can learn more about you and everything you got going on?
You feel free to give us a call. Our number is 215-836-5500. Our email is appraisals@coyleappraisals.com.
Simple.
And the website is the Coyle Group LLC.com.
Nice.
Facebook group. What was the name?
Facebook group, Ask the Philly Appraiser.
Cool.
And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Had a good time.
Thanks for
Awesome.
being here.
Yeah.
That's all we have for this one, folks. Thank you for tuning in again to another episode of Bricks and Risk. See you next week. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Bricks and Risk. Our goal is that you walk away with 1 or 2 valuable nuggets, and we greatly appreciate you sharing your time with us today. You can find all B&R episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and anywhere else you get your podcast content. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.